It's time to start C# programming in Unity, but initially we need to have an introduction of C# programming in Unity Engine. In the last clip, we have learned how we can use particle systems as a visual effects in our scene and how we can add sounds and voice to our game and make the visual ambient sounds in our scene. In this clip, we want to have an introduction of C# programming in the Unity engine. For doing that, I want to go to the scenes level 1. It is an empty scene. So I want to add a camera. Okay, and also another direction light. All right. That's to save it. Okay, we have to wait for the compiling the new camera and direction light to our scene, and after that create a C# program and C# script in our scene, in our project. Now I wanna create a new folder. It's called scripts. Okay, let's go inside of a scripts folder and right click, create a C# script, and we have to write a name of this C# script. For example, test code. Make sure you have not allowed to add any space like this. It's not legal for doing that. If you want to make any space, you can add underline to between two words, but I propose to don't do that and keep it without any space in here. Okay. Now let's open it with Visual Studio. In the Visual Studio, you can write any function from the Unity library and save it and compile it by the Unity engine. In here, we have editor of the Visual Studio, and that place we can write our functions. The first part of this script, it is the default of the C# script, and in here you can see some libraries: system.collections, system.collections.generic, and Unity engine, and before them you can see using. So it means our script try to load these libraries and find any function we will write, and try to use the another libraries from functions from this library for compiling our functions. For example, one of the important functions in Unity is void update, or another one is void start. As you can see, they are blue, so it means they attach to one library, and this library is Unity engine. If I remove it, something like this, the mono behavior and void start and void update will be disabled. So we need to have using Unity engine for all of the scripts for Unity engine. Okay, we have our public class. In class, it's called test code. The name of our class must be the same with our script file, test code, and here the main class is test code. The mono behavior is the main class of from the library Unity engine, and our functions will come from mono behavior. So make sure your script has mono behavior as a main class of the library Unity engine. Okay, let's define some variables. For example, we have numbers of public, integer or int variable. Okay, in the integer numbers, we can add any number we want, but without any floaty. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, or -1, -2, -3, 0, but we cannot add 0.5 to integer. If we want to use 0.5 or I don't know another types of numbers, we can use public float variable. You can write any name here, but without any space. If you do that, you will have problem in here. So don't make any space between the words of the name. In here, you can write any number you want in float. The int numbers will be supportable by float, but you cannot convert them together. You cannot make equal them together. Then a variable of int is not very equal with a variable of float. If you want to compare between them, you have to convert them together. Another type of most important variables are public string text, or I don't know, txt, or any number we want. In here you can write any word and any characters you want. Name, full name, I don't know, string, text, anything you want. Let me to write an example for this. Percent and 0 -2 -3 -2 -1. Oh, sorry. 0, yeah, 1, 2, 3. In here we can say 0.25 or 1 or something else. In here we can write any character or name or any text. Okay, and another important variable is public game object. It is from the Unity engine library in here, and these ones are from the system and the C# programming, but this one is from the Unity engine. Game object obj, for example, any objects in our scene, camera, 3D model, I don't know, light, particle systems, train, or something else. We can add any objects, I repeat, any objects of the hierarchy into this game object, and we can call this function and this variable for any function we want. Another one is public For example, we can call any of these parameters separately by their components. For example, camera, cam, any objects which have camera components. It's better to say only objects. For example, another parameter, we can control C and control V in here, and we say I don't know, light, and we say light. Oh, it's better to write with capital. Remember, in programming, capital words and small words are very important. For example, light with the capital L is and has been defined in the C# and Unity engine library. If I change it to little l, it's not defined. Look at this. Namespace light could not be found. So remember this one. And also the names of the variables must be different. For example, if we have already cam in here, if we have cam, the second cam has a problem. Even the camera are the same. It has a problem. So our parameters and our variables must have a different names. Okay, and light OVG, okay, or something else. We can call them anything we want. And once you press Ctrl S or click on this one, save. If you come back to the Unity, this script tried to compile by the compiler of the Unity engine, and in the console you will see some messages from Unity compiler. Right now and these errors are from another part of Unity, so forget it. But in the console you can see any message from Unity compiler. If you have any error, if you have any message, any debug things and anything, you can see in the console. Or you can call and make any message to be able to see in the console as well. It is very useful tool for testing our functions. Okay, let's talk about some important objects, some important functions in our scene, in our script, excuse me. We have void start and we have void update. In the void start, I can say a best definition for it. It's say this function will work at the first moment of scene launch, and it works only one time. So if you write any orders and any codes in this crochet and this distance in the void start, and that your functions and your orders will do only one time, and it will be in the first moment of scene launch. For example, we call print. If I write anything in this between these parentheses, it will be appears in the console. So as you can see, the print function, it's only by message. So the parameter of this between these parameters must be numbers or a string. And for example, we say a double quotation, 2 double quotations in here, and we say a start function, and Control S. Come back to the Unity. If we want to test our script must be attached to one object in the hierarchy. Remember, one or more objects, it doesn't matter, but minimum one object should have this script. So for example, we can add another empty object. We say a script and drag and drop our scripts in here. As you can see, we can change any variable of this list. Int variable, float variable, for example 5, or in here 1.2. In here we cannot write 1.2. Point doesn't work in here. And in here we can write any text or any number. The numbers of here are a string, so we cannot use the numbers of the txt as a float or int. For example, 1.2 of text is not equal with 1.2 of float. It is a text. It is something message. Message. Okay, in here we can add any game object. For example, this one, or in camera, or anything. But in the camera we can only add camera, not something else. For example, if I drag and drop a directional light to the camera, it's forbidden. But in the light object, I can add only the light in here. If I drag and drop the camera to the light, it's forbidden. Okay. Now we want to test our first function, void start. Once we play our scene, in the console we will see this message, start function. Go to the console and play the game. That's it. Start function. It only worked one time, not more. If I write another function in here, and for example we say print Abulfaz age equal, we can write another variable and another values in here with plus. Abulfaz age equal plus one of these variables, int variable. Copy and paste in here. Okay, and we can plus it with another variable as well. Plus text plus double quotation space equal space plus float variable, and Control S. Let's go to the scene and try to play it again. That's it. Look at this. It is our first function, start function, and it's it. Abulfazl age equal the int variable. In the inspector, we have added int variable equal 12. So Abulfaz age equal 12 and plus txt. And here we wrote txt message. And so we have message and equal the variable float variable in here. Float variable was 1.2. Message equal 1.2. So we can write any message in here. It is the good tool for test our functions, our formula, or our any other orders in scripting. Okay, the next one is void update. In the void update, we can add any function we want. But the important thing is it's try to do our orders 20 or 30 times per frame, and it's never stop. For example, if I copy this part in here and start update function, you will see better. Play the scene. Look at this. It's always working. And the time of it, look at this. If I pause the game, you can see 6,227 times our order has been worked. It is very important, and we can use this function for any order we want. For example, we will say int variable in here with equal int variable plus 2. Okay, and in the print we will say int variable equal plus int variable. So what will happen? In here, every 200 or 30 times per frame, it's try to plus int variable with number 2, and in here try to print it in the console. Int variable equal the current number of int variable in here. Come back to the scene and change the int variable to 0, for example. Okay, and Control S for saving and write. That's it. Look at this. It's very fast. In here, you can see better. It is really fast. As you can see, 19,366, 19,368, 19,317. Plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. It is exactly that things we said. Okay, or even we can write much more complicated functions in the void update. And I want to talk about other functions. For example, if we want to create a new function which has specific orders. For example, void Abulfazl age. This is the template of the void. These parentheses and these crochets must be in the template of the void. If we remove them, we will have a problem. Or if we remove one of these, we will have a problem. Look at this. Okay, in here we can say print Abul Fazl age equal plus int variable. Perfect. Okay, and now we can say remove this part, but try to call this function from void update. So what will happen? It's try to plus 2 the int variable and 20 or 30 times per frame, then call the abulfaz function, abulfaz age function in here. Now, what is the duty of the abulfaz function, abulfaz age function? Print the number of int variable with the label of abulfaz age equal the number. So Control S and come back to the scene. Let's play the game. Look at this. It works well. Abulfaz age is 7,000 years. Perfect. So we can call any function we want. We can call this function directly from here because this function is inside of this class. In the future, we will learn how we can call any function from another script. Another important variable types is public or private. Once you define your variable as a public, another scripts have access to your variable. And so, for example, we can write another script, for example, test code 2. It can access, we can create an access to the test code 1 and change or read the int variable in here. But if you change it to private, it's only readable and changeable by this class, not others. And also, if you Control S and go to the Unity, in the editor, the int variable will be hidden for you, and you cannot change it by the inspector of Unity. You can change it only by your script. So for now, I propose to keep it as a public. Maybe some of the variables, it's better to be private or another types, for example, private or public or I don't know, internal, something else. Okay, let's go to the next step and create a much more complicated script with our